Is baseball an innocent sport? Is it child's play? Or is it satanic? Well, here's the proof. You have plenty of symbolism here. Simpletons will say it's all a coincidence. Simpletons will say that it doesn't matter, that they chose a certain figure which happens to match with another figure which coincides with another pattern, on and on, a stack of coincidences. When you see SOS on the beach, you know it's not a coincidence. Only an idiot would believe that an SOS could erode into existence. No, it was obviously designed. And the same with the patterns that you're going to see here. Unless you go to click on some other video, which is fine with me. I don't need you. But you should learn the truth if you care about living right, as opposed to living like a pawn of Satan and another statistic was easily manipulated and made fun of by the powers that be, who know what this stuff represents. The small circle near the big circle is the moon in relation to the sun. Now, it's not an arbitrary thing to say, because there's a lot more evidence to support this interpretation. Male and female together make the square and compass, which is used in so-called free masonry. They're not free, they're slaves to the flesh, they're like dogs. So the point of baseball is for the moon to be with the sun in an eclipse, which represents male and female united, which represents completion and perfection, which represents the perfect being, which represents the Antichrist. Now remember, the square and compass is implied by this alone, but you can also see it in the field itself. It's right there in plain sight, the square and compass. Like this right here. See? And Masons use this a lot. And that's a match to the so-called Star of David. Stars are symbols for angels, including fallen angels, and of David refers to the messianic lineage. Therefore, this symbolism refers to the Antichrist, the false Messiah, to be manifested relatively soon. The incarnation of Satan himself. Male and female united. Notice Baphomet, the Templar god, the god of Masons, one of the symbols for him, has female breasts and a penis. Notice also the snakes are having sex, male and female united again. So the square and compass is used in Masonry. This is like a Masonic temple, and notice the one eye in the middle, in between. There's a Tower of Babel symbol in one of the advertisements in the baseball field here, and that is a match to, with the eye on top, with this pattern here, which Masons created, of course. The United States is a Masonic project. The eye on top refers to the Antichrist, because the Bible says, "Woe to the idle shepherd that leadeth the flock, the sword shall be upon his arm, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened." So one eye for the Antichrist. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Baseball. What does baseball mean? Why do they put this weird pattern here? You think it's just for a grip? There are many ways you can do that will serve for an even better grip than this. The symbolism is this. The curved lines match this here. See? They imply this, which when you put them together, here they're not together, but if you merge them together, it's implied. It doesn't have to be in your face all the time. If you merge them together, you get this symbol, the vagina. And in the Vatican, you have the penis piercing the vagina, you have coitus, you have sex, you have male and female united, you have a reference to the Antichrist again. And notice also the star of Ishtar on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rays. The star of Ishtar is of Babylon, land of the Tower of Babel, when mankind united to try to conquer heaven. So it's a reference to rebellion against God. This is an affront to God. Catholicism is counterfeit Christianity, fake Christianity of the devil, through and through. Sacrilegious, mixing the holy with the pagan. Rome is the capital of pagans, for crying out loud. It's extremely pagan, always has been, still is, exceedingly. And so, yeah, this is not Christian, this is anti-Christian. Refers to the complete and perfect being, supposedly. The Antichrist, Satan, will have you believe he is perfect. And the vagina symbol is also seen in Pan's Labyrinth, in Hollywood, and in Muslim architecture. Now remember the star of Ishtar of 8 rays? Well, this has 8 points. Like that star of Ishtar, Babylon, land of the Tower of Babel, of mankind united under Satan to try to conquer heaven. The United Nations is a step towards the next Tower of Babel. And according to NASA, which is Masonic, and has as its logo the forked tongue of the serpent, the lying serpent. So you can't trust everything he's saying. They use CGI sometimes, and man never went to the moon, but that's for another video. But I'll give you one of the arguments for that right now. A little digression, because it's my tradition to do in every single video. If man went to the moon, why not leave a landmark such as an SOS clearly visible from the Earth by at least a simple telescope, if not the naked eye? Because you can't fake that on the real moon. And why has man never returned? We have such great technology to do videos of people on the moon. They have the most shitty, most easily staged with their wealth videos. But anyway, remember the Antichrist shall lose an eye. So it's interesting that it looks like an eye. So a lot of symbols that Satan uses, they're not inherently evil. They can be good, but in the context of this world, it's not. It's a bad world. It's a messed up world. Why? Because evil reigns. The powers that be are evil. They promote evil. They punish vigilantes, and they reward criminals with free vacations and to play in gyms and watch TV at taxpayer expense. Evil is promoted in this world, not good. So, Satan does rule this world, and the symbols in this world are the devil. So the Olympics logo has the vagina symbol in it. And also here you can see the rings of Saturn. Saturn is another satanic symbol. See my video on the satanic elements in basketball. I explain Saturn there, I think. If not elsewhere, do a lot of these. And Lucifer means light bearer. He used to be the light bearer, now he masquerades as means of light. He will have you believe he is light, but is actually the king of darkness. He hates the light. And if he uses some of the light, it's only to mislead people, because the best way to sell a lie is to mix it with the truth. So the torch is a symbol for Satan, and this is also a satanic symbol. Now in Guam, which the Spanish discovered with Magellan, the Portuguese guy who sided with Spain against Portugal, by the way, another digression, they used the vagina symbol also. And supposedly this fish symbol is Christian, but it's not. It's pagan and satanic. I mock Jesus because I'm scared of Muhammad. That's right, atheists are scared of Muslims. They prefer to make fun of people who are supposed to not fight back in a physical sense, only in a debate logic sense like I do. So Darwin, I did a video proving he worshipped Satan. He was a Mason of a high rank, and so this is interesting. Now this is disinformation propaganda I found from Google Images. They say that this is a way of writing the Greek letters overlapping each other. Even though if you see this and you don't know Greek, you're not going to understand anything. Even though a Greek would see this, he would not conclude, oh, that must mean this. No, this is nonsense. This is the star of Ishtar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rays. So another reference to the Tower of Babel. This is a reference to mankind rebelling against God and trying to conquer heaven under Satan. In so-called Buddhism, I think this is Tibetan, you have the vagina symbol again. Very subtle here. So it represents a birth of the Antichrist, or something like that. I think they're having sex with a female and a male, apparently licking each other and yeah, that must be male and female united again. You see male and female, however, this is a mother, right? So it's the vagina for giving birth to the child, this Antichrist figure. This would be the unholy spirit symbolized by this fake Mary, Eurocentric fake Mary. Not that all Europeans are blonde, those are just more, well, the North, some of the North. The original Southern Europeans were not blonde, I punched the video on that. Clearly a vagina symbol. Now back to baseball. The New York logo has the curves here that match, but well, before I get into that, notice the Nike symbol is the rings of Saturn implied. Saturn is a symbol for Satan again. So the baseball pattern matches the New York curves over here. Why? Here's why. Because of what I just covered already. It's a vagina symbol. It's a reference to the vagina. The baseball is symbolically a vagina, and a match to the moon and other things like water, passivity, everything that is in a dichotomy of dominant versus weak, strong versus weak, frail, cold versus hot, all sorts of dichotomies. When they're united, you have completion or the quenching of thirst. So this symbolizes the penis and vagina together, or a hermaphroditic being, the Antichrist, which an eclipse can also symbolize. Now, another digression, an eclipse is reference to, by God's creation, this is the gospel. This is Jesus giving you his robe of righteousness and taking your guilt, your sins, paying for them. So he dies for you and you live because he died for you. This is what an eclipse truly means. Although Satan can use the eclipse to represent something else, the male and female united, but for an evil purpose. So the purpose is the female and the male combined, so that's the Antichrist, right? The Antichrist goes up and up and up, representing going up into heaven to conquer it. And so the person who helped send him up to heaven has to run to conquer all the world, and then you go back home because you're finished. And so the world is conquered by Satan. He took over everything. That must be what's implied here. If you have a better interpretation, you're going to say, oh, they just happened to invent bases. Why do they invent bases? Why does it have to be a big circle and then a smaller circle? You say because they have an umpire in there. But there's no umpire on this side or this side or this. God doesn't want you to play a satanic game. Don't lie to yourselves. Babe Ruth said reading is bad. And why do they call it the World Series when it's just the US and a few other countries? This is so gay. A baseball cultist. It's a religion of the world, this distraction from what matters. Ignorance isn't bliss. It can make you look silly. See my other videos exposing the satanic.
My son is always asking me why I'm letting this man touch my butt so many times.
And you say slap ass every time.
Every time.
Okay, hold on one second. Let's go to the timeout. I'm from the Dominican Republic, okay? All I know since I was a little kid is to catch fly balls and to say slap ass. Since I was a little kid is to catch fly balls and to say slap ass every single time. Slap ass!
This is the Major Leagues, Rapi. We're all from the Dominican Republic. Nobody here has ever heard anyone say slap ass before you.
Quit playing, man. Come on, get your slap ass.
Rafi!
Rafi! Enough, okay?